Hey everyone, and welcome back to Timeless. Last night I was yapping on Discord as I usually am, and I stumbled across somebody who also happened to be working on Birthing Ritual. They had a main deck Lurrus version of this deck. Now I actually ran into this on ladder a couple days ago, and it had always been in the back of my mind where I saw somebody playing main deck Lurrus, and I'm like, wait, this is sweet. What are they cooking? I didn't know the rest of their deck. I only played one game against them, and I was always thinking about it, and I always had it in the back of my mind that I wanted to work on it, but I was working on the companion Lurrus versions of the deck, so I never actually tried to put this together. But I saw somebody's Discord list in Discord, and I made a couple of changes to it, but we mostly have the same idea that they were going for. This is our same Birthing Ritual deck that gets the same value with cards like Orcish, Bowmaster's Marionette, Apprentice, Guide of Souls for the life gain, Juggernaut, Peddler for hand hate, but we're also going bigger and have these really crazy high value 3 drops in the deck, and we can go ahead and just search them out of the deck with our Birthing Ritual after we use a card for like Juggernaut Peddler for its ETB. Renegade Rallier is, in my opinion, like the new strongest card in the deck. This is crazy. This actually used to be Extraction Specialist. I'll pull it up real quick just so that we can see the difference. Extraction Specialist says when it enters the battlefield, return target creature with mana value 2 or less from graveyard to battlefield. It can't attack or block as long as the Extraction Specialist is still alive, and it's a 3/2 lifelink. So there is downside here, but it is an unconditional bring a creature back. Renegade Rallier says Revolt. When it enters the battlefield, return any permanent with mana value 2 or less from the graveyard battlefield. So as long as you have Revolt, this is much better. It loses the lifelink, but it can bring back any permanent. That includes a fetch land. That includes Birthing Ritual if your opponent blows it up. I really value this a lot. It also includes your Static Prison. If you're playing that, we have it in the sideboard. I think this is a lot better than the Extraction Specialist. The creature is also free to attack and block as well, which is awesome. But the main reason that this card is a real standout is if you sacrifice a 2-drop, let's say a Juggernaut Peddler, to go get it out of the deck, you automatically have Revolt. So it's automatically going to bring something back, and it can bring the Juggernaut Peddler that you sacrificed to get it right back from your graveyard. So it just gets you a stupid amount of value where you get to rebuy your Juggernaut Peddler ETB or your Bowmaster's ETB, or you get to bring back a Guide of Souls for life gain. You get to pick what you need out of your graveyard, or you can even just take a land out of your graveyard to get a little bit more ramp if that suits you. And regardless, what this guy is he's now a 3 mana permanent that you don't care too much about, so you're just going to sack him to your Birthing Ritual next turn, and then with him, you can get any permanent out of your deck. Because keep in mind, Birthing Ritual says X+1 or less. It doesn't have to exactly be X+1. So when you sack a Renegade Rallier, you can get anything 4 or less, and that's your whole deck. And I'm very happy to turn a Renegade Rallier into an Apprentice or a Bowmaster's on certain board states. Main deck Lurrus is also really sweet. It has probably been the weakest out of the 3 drops from my initial playing with the deck. It's definitely really strong, really powerful, but I think Renegade Rallier is a little bit more powerful, giving you that instant value. Lurrus, of course, if you can keep it in play, will get you a crap ton of value, and the card is incredibly strong. It's a banned in modern power level card. It's crazy. But I am like a little down on it. I don't know if we actually do want all 3 copies, but we're going to go ahead and play with it for the video. I do think it's really sweet that when you get to play this, you get it with a Birthing Ritual on your end step, you untap, and then you get to play something from your graveyard. That's awesome, but Renegade Rallier does do it for free. Admittedly, only once. Lurrus can keep getting value for as long as it's in play, which is really awesome. And it can get you like the cast triggers on your turn for if that's ever relevant. And lastly, Skyclave Apparition, which is an awesome piece of removal. This removes pretty much any permanent in the format. I'm not exaggerating. There are very, very few permanents that have mana value 5 or greater that get played. It's pretty much just the Scam Elementals, Fury and Solitude. Some people are still reanimating Trolls. There's might be somebody who's a little wild playing Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, but like we're already getting into really marginal cards by naming Teferi, Hero of Dominaria. This quite literally hits every permanent in the format, and you're okay sacrificing this to Birthing Ritual, just like the Renegade Rallier, to get something else out of your deck. Because who cares if your opponent gets a random 2/2? You know, who cares? I'm happy to turn a Guide of Souls into a random 1/1. It's always good for me. I'm happy to get rid of my opponent's Necropotence and give them a 3/3. So this card is really, really strong. In fact, we have an extra copy of it in the sideboard because I do think it's so strong against creature decks. Like especially if we're playing against energy, this is the card that you throw down, you hit their Guide of Souls, you block with it, trade with something else, and it lets you essentially get enough time to really get your engine going. So other than these 3 drops, it's the same engine as before. We got Bowmasters, Juggernaut Peddler, and Marionette Apprentice in the 2-drop slot. These were all stars the last time that we put the deck. We got Guide of Souls and Ocelot Pride. When I originally was given this deck, it did not have these cards. I think it was playing like a Mana Dork. It's sad. I think we were playing Abyssin's Pilgrim. That's the name of it. The elf that taps for white. Forget. And I didn't think if this deck needs a mana dork. Like the point of this deck is not to turn 1 mana dork, turn 2 3-drop. Like if we cast a Skyclave Apparition or a Lurrus on turn 2, like who cares? We're not going to have anything too valuable to hit with the Skyclave Apparition. We're not going to have anything to get back with the Lurrus. Renegade Rallier on turn 2, I guess gets your fetch land back. That's not the point of this deck. This deck doesn't need a mana dork, and don't get it twisted. This Deathrite Shaman is not a mana dork. This is a 1 mana planeswalker. Do not get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. This card's screwed up. And then we get the one of Haywire Might as well, with an extra copy of this in the sideboard as well, because it's really nice to be able to search Artifact Enchantment hate out of your deck with a Birthing Ritual. And when you don't need it, you can just sacrifice it. It gains you 2 life. That's pretty sweet. And we have that 1 copy of Nightmare, because I like having 5 copies of the effect. Nightmare is really strong. Maybe you could even play 2. And Swords for main deck interaction. In the sideboard, we got more interaction in the vein of Swords and a Static Prison. We have the extra Haywire Might, as we said. Extra Juggernaut Peddler is very, very good in some matchups. Juggernaut Peddler is just such an awesome card. Like, I've really been loving playing with it in all of these Birthing Ritual decks. I think I'm going to start jamming it into more and more of my normal Lurrus decks. Like, this card is sweet. If you have any way to rebuy him or abuse his ETB, the card is so good. We get Disruptor Flute as well. This is for combo matchups. Name a Charbelcher with it, or you can even bring it in. Sometimes it's more marginal, and just name a random spell to make it cost 3 more, and they'll slow down your opponent enough. Between like the Juggernaut Peddlers and the Disruptor Flutes, you can like really, really bully your opponents and keep them out of making any meaningful progress in this game of Magic the Gathering. It's kind of funny. We have a tutorable Graveyard Hate piece, Remorseful Cleric. We have Boromir, who is a tutorable Screw Show and Tell card. 2 copies of him. When an opponent casts a spell, no mana was spent to cast it, counter it. Show and Tell has to remove him if they want to do their thing. And he does not die to Force of Vigor, or a lot of the common sideboard cards that the deck plays. Of course, he dies to creature removal, as everything in our deck does, but it's okay. He also has that extra text where you could sacrifice him to give your creatures indestructible, but I don't think we're going to sideboard him in for that very much. We have Skyclave Apparition as well, just an extra copy, because I said this is really, really good against like the Boros decks. And anything with cheap permanents that's going to be beating us down, we got to buy ourselves some time. We have Night Clubber as well for the aggro decks. I was playing the 2-mana adventure creature that had a similar effect, -1/-1 on the adventure. So being able to do that on ETB on your end step is awesome. 1 endurance, and I wasn't sure what to do the last sideboard card. I said let's try White Flare. I haven't made like a White Flare deck yet. And like the energy deck is now good for White Flare. I've had a lot of people suggest put White Flare in energy, but no. All energy plays in terms of white creatures is Guide of Souls, Ocelot Pride, and Ajani. And your Ajani is going to flip into Planeswalker half the time. And those are like your most valuable creatures. You don't want to sack them. But in this deck, in addition to the Guide of Souls, Ocelot Pride, we also have Juggernaut Peddler, which we don't mind sacrificing after the ETB happens. Renegade Rallier that we don't mind sacrificing after the ETB happens, Skyclave Apparition that we don't mind sacrificing after the ETB happens, and Lurrus, which, I mean, I guess we can sacrifice that if we have to. The point is we have 20 white creatures now, and I think it's a high enough density to at least try Flare of Fortitude. And hopefully that card works out, because this is the Flare of Fortitude deck if there ever was one. And I think that's it for the deck. Normal mana base, we got 2 Surveillance. Normal stuff that I built. All right, that's it. See you guys in the games. All right, game 1 with main deck Lurrus. We're against Krisis, and we are on the play. And we got our main deck Lurrus in hand. This is, I think, a pretty mid hand, but I think we're going to keep it anyway, rather than trying to mulligan to find our engine. I think this is just like a reasonable mid-range hand, where we turn 1 Surveillance, turn 2 play a Bowmasters, turn 3 play Skyclave if needed. If not, we play one of our other cards. Seems fine to me. All right. All right. Looks like we are against Dimir Lurrus Gaming. And a bauble. Okay. It's fine by me. Go ahead and crack this. We'll surveil. See what's on top. We don't need another 3-drop right now. Renegade Rallier, you know, it does have use cases. We have plenty of fetch lands in our hands, so we can use them for ramp, but realistically don't need them. Not right now. I'm looking for my engine pieces, maybe some 1-drops. Alright, opponent's going to crack it on our upkeep, which means we do get to successfully Bowmaster the extra card draw, which is nice. We may Swords Tamiyo. I think what I'm most interested in is just resolving this Bowmaster while our opponent is tapped out. So I'm going to go ahead and fetch a green source here. We're just going to play the Bowmaster at sorcery speed. I don't need to worry about Tamiyo flipping for once because I have Skyclave Apparition to just cleanly answer the Planeswalker side of her. Skyclave Apparition, honestly, just really underplayed card. It's underplayed because, you know, all the white decks are Lurrus decks. And if you're not a Lurrus deck, you're playing like Flage and the Pitch Elementals. So you don't really need it. But if you do end up with a white deck that's not playing Flage, not playing Solitude, then yes, Skyclave Apparition is awesome. Our opponent, please don't leave up mana drain mana. No, now I feel like I can't do anything. Alright, I think what we should do is we should offer up Marionette Apprentice to the gods of mana drain, and then resolve a Deathrite Shaman, and then move on with our lives. But first we can go to combat. And we see whether or not they have their own Bowmasters or something funny that they want to do. Nothing funny yet, so I think we offer up this Marionette Apprentice, and then we resolve the Deathrite Shaman, because Deathrite Shaman staying in play is pretty good against them. It is a 1-mana Planeswalker, as I said before. It will end the game just by draining them 2 life per turn. And, you know, the Dimir Lurrus deck doesn't always run too much mass creature removal. I'll get rid of my Bowmaster. So now a question. Do I want to change my mind? And do I want to just Swords? Swords the Tammy. And I don't think I need to Swords anything this turn. I think I'd rather just take my time, get the Deathrite Shaman in play, because if we do next turn, maybe we can Lurrus to buy back the Bowmasters if we hit a land drop. Or we'll have 4 mana regardless next turn, so we can Skyclave and Swords, which is really sweet. I think the longer this game goes, actually, the better for us, to be honest. Usually when you're against this blue-black Lurrus deck, you don't want the games to go long, because they're going to flip their Tamiyo, they're going to hit a Treasure Cruise, they're going to draw a bajillion cards and get ahead. They're chilling. We drew a Bowmasters, which is interesting. It's actually a card I would be interested in playing. That actually is a card I'm very interested in playing, probably over Skyclave Apparition. My plan was these 2 cards, but I think my plan is now Swords plus Bowmasters. And I think I will be rewarded if I wait on the timing for both of these. Opponent takes 2 here. And we'll see whether or not they're interested in perhaps cracking clues on their end step, perhaps doing a brainstorm. I mean, most people know not to do that into Bowmaster's mana, but I put it might do it anyway. I really just want them to tap out a mana drain for my Bowmasters to resolve. Ooh, interesting. I think I might be interested in flashing out the Bowmasters right now, after that Surveil. Look at this game. It's tapping me out of Swords mana. Don't do that. Don't do that. Oh, I should have had to keep up black-white. It's no big deal. I would rather drain them with the Deathrite Shaman, but it's no biggie. I think I'm gonna Swords this Tammy almost no matter what. We'll see. Alright, Crazy Frog. No, that is getting hit by the swords. That is a Swords Me Please kind of card. They can attack with Tammy all they want. I really don't mind them getting phase. We're just going to wait for their end step. We're going to try to Swords the Frog. This probably gets countered. If it doesn't get countered, I'm very happy to get rid of this threat. This is a game-ending threat. Okay, Spell Pierce, yep. That's fine. They're using their mana. They no longer have Mana Drain to hit my Skyclave Apparition. Ooh, and an Ocelot Pride. Ocelot Pride's not amazing on this board, but it's fine. It's a card. It's a card that attacks and blocks and maybe gains some life. Alright, and now we can go to combat. Hit. After combat, we'll play our Ocelot Pride. And then we're very close to that City's Blessing as well. 1 white mana, please. This Dimir Lurrus deck, like, never plays board wipes, by the way. So game 1, at least, you can always just, like, flood the board. You don't have to worry about such a thing. It's tough for them to play board wipes. That'll hit your deck without also destroying their own. But some builds play, like, very few creatures beyond Frog and Bowmasters and Tameo, so they might do it. Right, that is a Crazy Frog, and unfortunately, that Crazy Frog is in our way. Interesting. They can discard 2 things to the Crazy Frog. I think what I'm interested in doing here is I'm interested in attacking with my Orc Army. They'd have to Mind Rot themselves in order to be able to successfully block it. I think I'm cool with that, to be honest. Okay, they have their own Bowmasters, it's fine. I'm gonna shoot mine, sure. And then we can think about what we want to do after they make their blocking decision. Go ahead and chump. Okay. I think resolving Lurrus here could be pretty clutch. We don't get to play something with him, but we get to resolve him clean. I think I'm down to do that. Although it comes at the opportunity cost of me not being able to put pressure onto my opponent's life total. But still, this is another must-answer threat that's going to come through. We can buy back our Bowmasters now. However, our opponent is going to have a good turn. They are going to be able to fly their Psychic Frog, draw a card there. They're probably going to be able to flip their Tameo. They just have to spend a little mana on clues in order to do that. They're going to set themselves up for success. It's just a question of, is it going to be enough? You hit my Lurrus? Okay. Yeah, it might be enough. I think for the rest of the game, we're just going to activate Deathrite Shaman, because our opponent is realistically in a situation where just Deathrite Shaman activating a couple times does kill them. Right, crack another clue. Interesting that they didn't fly the frog. I guess they think they need it as a blocker, which is pretty fair. And now our opponent can plus. Yep. That's fine. Ooh, another Deathrite. That's pretty sweet. That is a clock, alright. So what do we want to do here? Closer we to that blessing. Because we can activate our Haywire Might whenever to gain some life for the blessing, which is pretty cute. We could also use our Lurrus to gain life for the kitty cat. I don't think that is going to kill our opponent. I think what we can start with is we can kind of throw away this token. I don't think we really need it. Just becomes a 2/3 here. They can discard a card to the frog and then we bounce off of each other. They can discard 2 frogs to eat my token. I don't mind if they discard 2 cards to the frog. Honestly, I'm happy if they do that because they're going down on card advantage. They're going to chump instead. That's really good. Great, I'm going to play another Deathrite Shaman. And wish you good luck. What are we doing? We're cruising for a bruising? Looks like it. Maybe I could have activated on my turn with the Deathrite Shaman. Maybe I could have taxed the graveyard just a little bit. Because they're going to go out of their way to make sure they exile every instant and sorcery. Discard a frog for the card for that crazy frog. Hold on. So like I just said, let me exile an instant and sorcery now before they can exile it to treasure cruise. Oh no, wait, they can counter me with frog still. But that means they can't treasure cruise if they're going to be frog eating their own graveyard. I can't be mad about this. I'm just going to be down a blocker for whatever that's worth. Dig? Ugh. Okay. A little rough. Frog is such a sweet card. I love this frog. Yeah, I should probably go after my own graveyard, but the thing is I only have one instant in there. I don't really play too many instants and sorceries in my deck. Our opponent can fly the frog, but then they lose their blocker, for whatever that's worth. And they will go after definitely trying to make sense. Alright.
I am not defenseless.
We need a birthing ritual to show up. Something good to get us some advantage back into this game. Because the Tammy has slowed down the game a lot. They are drawing a lot of cards. A lot of good things are happening for them on their side of the board. Alright, we are going to go flying today. Notably, there aren't 3 cards in the graveyard, so they can't activate Psychic Frog in response to Deathrite Shaman unless they were to discard an extra card. Stupor has potentially been sunk. It may or may not have actually been sunk. Let's see whether or not they want to respond to this. They can like discard a card and then exile some stuff from their graveyard. That's a legal play. Yeah, they will. Okay. Close. Then the boy gets flying. He can't do it next turn now, which is good. And then cameo ult. Ooh, it's gonna be close. It's gonna be close. We get to hit them for 3 here. It's gonna be real close. I don't know. This Tammy ults. We play this Ocelot Pride, and then, you know, we could think about activating this so that we get 2 Pride triggers. We'll hit that cool City's Blessing. But, oh, okay, we got drained. That's fine. I'm fine with a 1-drop getting drained. Not the end of the world. And it's putting another card in the graveyard for me. I'm happy about that. Our opponent's at 4. Every point of damage matters, right? Yep, Lurrus to hand, Lurrus to play. Makes sense. Okay, they discard another card that's a redundant Tameo. They could just buy back with Lurrus. Makes sense.
Respect the library.
Play Lurrus, buy back the Tammy. But they can't really attack. Ooh, they're gonna.
I must investigate
In that
this
case, I think I
further.
am supposed to block and keep them from getting too many cards. I will just gain a little life here. Ooh, so now we can hit the Lurrus or the Tammy. What do I want to hit? Tammy is threatening to win the game, right? So I think that's the logical choice. So we got to hit the Tammy. If I hit the Lurrus instead, can I attack Tammy? Not reasonably. So let's take her out. This is going to be troublesome, though, because then they're going to have a Lurrus that's stuck in play, and I can't deal with that card. Not right away, at least. But this drawing half the library next turn is game over. Unfortunately.
I need some time to myself.
That is not a free attack. I can just block him with Tameo. So we will go to their turn. This is tough. This is tight. A lot of good draws for us, but there's also a lot of good draws for them. Okay, we're gonna make a clue. All right, Brainstorm Gaming. Cameo is gonna flip.
I'd love to hear stories from your home.
All right, there's that Tameo passive to slow down the game again.
Before you act.
They are 2 Deathrite activations away from death, which is good. They can exile their own graveyard to the frog whenever they want, though. So that's important to note. They're searching now? What do you got? Okay, drop card. Yeah. They just want to exile it with the frog. Right now, right now? Nope. Okay. Ooh. Now that's a good one. Just real fast here. I'm gonna exile this from my own graveyard. Just lightning fast opponent, okay? In case I want to sacrifice my Deathrite Shaman to this ability. I don't think I will. But here's a Birthing Ritual. Did you draw a Mana Drain? Or a Spell Pierce? A lot works here. Just a Bowmasters. Okay, okay. Winnable. Winnable game. If we hit our own Bowmasters here, we win off a ping, which would be amazing, by the way. I'd be thrilled. We did not. We can peddle them a Juggernaut. We can also... Oh, we can Renegade Rallier. Yeah. And that gets a Bowmaster back. So we sacrifice the Skyclave. I don't care that they get a 1-1. It is just a 1-1. We'll get Renegade Rallier. Renegade Rallier gets back Bowmasters. Bowmasters lethal. That's a good one. Alright, that was an awesome first game against Dimir Lurrus. That took like 25 minutes? Oh, okay. That was a good one, though. That was a really good one. So Skyclave Apparition is just awesome removal against their deck. I don't think we need more than the 3 copies, but I do want to say, like, this does hit all their permanents. It's awesome. Maybe what we could do is take the swords out, because they're not a dedicated creature deck, and just have Skyclave. So we have 4 removal spells still. Peddling a Juggernaut seems pretty decent against them. Endurance. We don't need Haywire for anything, so that one can come out. Maybe we want an Endurance, because they do use their graveyard a little bit. It's not that much, though. I think peddling a Juggernaut would be pretty sweet against them. And what else would we want? Will we want to just Disruptor Flute something random? Do we want a random removal spell? Do we want to hit their graveyard? Do we want an Endurance? I think Endurance, just to shuffle their graveyard in, is probably pretty decent. The last card here is pretty marginal. We could also just, like, Flute. Yeah, we could Flute a Tameo if it flips. We can go ahead and just Flute Mana Drain, just to keep them off of Mana Drain. I'm really not sure on what that last card is supposed to be. Alright, game 2, we are going to be on the draw. We had a Bowmasters and a Birthing Ritual hand. Let's keep it. Sweet, another Bowmasters. Alright, pretty normal opening.
This is an interesting story.
We might want to try to resolve our Bowmasters at sorcery speed here. Maybe. I'll think about it. I think the answer is probably that we don't. Wait until their end step. Do we have a ritual? I don't think I'm too interested in a second copy. Not right now, at least. Right now, I'm just interested in casting these creatures from my hand and then doing a ritual on, like, turn 5. I'm gonna cast Bowmasters on their end step here, or maybe in response to them cracking a fetch. Yeah, we're gonna do it now. Let's do it now. Bowmasters out. And then next turn, what we could do if they remove our Bowmasters is we can Renegade Rallier it back. Yep. Here comes the Swamp for the Fatal Push. We did set them up to do that, but if they play a threat here, we can Renegade Rallier into Bowmasters, which would be sweet. What? Cheater! Alright, I was not expecting that card. No, we got owned. I'm not... Oh, the Lurrus got sideboarded out. I should have noticed that. Oh, wow. This new tech, I haven't noticed this yet. Oh, we got mana fixing, by the way. Like, we can actually get out of this. It's funny. If they have a removal spell, then we're screwed again. That's really funny. Yeah, I did not think that was a card they had in their arsenal. No, we can't kill him now. I don't have creatures. Oh, it's so bad. Okay, we will go to game two. Maybe I could have waited another turn to see if I draw something, but they're going to keep drawing answers at a faster rate than I could draw threats. Let's go ahead and put one more removal spell in the deck for the Harbinger, then run it back. That was cool sideboarding. All right, game three. Lurrus is back, by the way. So they don't have Harbinger. That's so interesting. They took it back out after the surprise factor. That's really cool sideboarding, though. I like it. So here we got the classic Guide of Souls into Ocelot Pride opener on the play. You love it when you see it. We have the Nightmare instead of the Birthing Ritual, but we should be able to make some funny things happen with it. Ooh, another guy? Another Ocelot Pride? Now we're gaming. Alright, let's go combat. I hit you for one. And after combat, let's go ahead and fetch out Black White. Ocelot Pride, please. And another one right after this. Looks like Guide of Souls might be getting fatal pushed here, or perhaps we're getting sternly scolded. Okay, no life gain triggers for me. Hopefully no Bowmasters to follow up. That would be a little tragic. It would be very tragic, to be honest. Ooh, okay, we get our own Bowmasters, so let's go to combat and attack. Okay, damage goes through. I think if damage goes through, we just Bowmaster on their end step. We are going to start snowballing pretty soon. That's 6 permanents in play for the Blessing. Bowmasters will make it 8 if they resolve, which means if we can get Blessing next turn. Okay, there goes a Pride. Interesting timing, but whatever. It's okay. I miss my timings and triggers too sometimes. Great, let's go ahead and flash this out. If this gets countered, it's not the end of the world, because then I get to resolve Nightmare. Although we'll only be able to loop it once. It's not like it'll be the greatest thing ever resolving it. Maybe I would rather play Marionette Apprentice. We have been drained. Another one. Do we want this? Yeah, I want this at sorcery speed. Right, do we want that? I'm thinking of brain. So resolving this is sweet because like they're at 10 and this will do chip damage, but like their out is drawing cards. I do not want them drawing cards. Yeah. And we almost have that blessing. So we'll have blessing very soon. Hopefully next turn. Unless Master Removal comes out, which their deck doesn't really play, but I would also tell you that this deck does not play Harbinger of the Tides, and it happened. Okay, digging, yep. All right, and they tap out completely for that dig. Okay, so can we kill them? We don't have enough power on board. We have a Nightmare to loop a Bowmaster. Is that enough power? I also don't think so. Right, because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 damage. We bring in a Bowmaster, it would be 7, 8. Ooh. Dark Slick Shores Gaming and a blocker. Sure.
I've read nearly the entire library.
Great. I think this is pretty straightforward. We go to combat. I don't think we need to do Bowmasters before combat. And I think we'll just play Apprentice, to be honest. Because they're not going to have a way to mass exile my board. They're going to die to the Marionette Apprentice triggers. And we get an extra little servo, which is cute. Servo, please. So they would need targeted removal for Apprentice and then a board wipe, which I don't think they're going to have. Or I guess targeted removal for Apprentice and then flip Tamio. But they would need targeted removal for Bowmasters for that. Right, how we feeling, opponent? You alright over there? Holy shit. They did have Toxic Deluge. But unfortunately, that's 10 triggers on the stack. Alright, good game, opponent. That was a fun one. Alright, game 2. We are going to be up against Cold Cap. And we're going to be on the draw. Okay, I don't think this one lander is great. You could maybe make an argument to keep this on the draw because we got that cool Deathrite Shaman. But I'm not the biggest fan of keeping one landers in the format dominated by really efficient 1-mana removal. I think here we can go ahead and put back that extra 3-drop. 3-drop is nice to have in the deck to hit off of the Birthing Ritual. And then it's just a classic Guide of Souls hand, right? See what my opponent is playing. They went to 5, unfortunately for them. They're going to be on the play, so card advantage is going to be a problem for them. And it looks like the good old Boros. Let's go ahead and grab black-white here. Maybe we can even grab basic white. Just in case they are Blood Moon Gaming Boros. We will trade here. I'd rather not have the Ragavan hit me, even though I would love to keep my Guide of Souls in play. I think we could just get every basic here, which is nice. Oh, what? Oh, you're probably playing 4-color Ritual, maybe? I don't know. My opponent is doing something cool. So let's go ahead and flash out a Bowmasters, and then if they don't present anything that's worth using Skyclave on, then we can go ahead and play the Ritual. Aha! I will Bowmasters the Bowmasters like a good citizen. Basics for me today. And then we'll play Skyclave if something good shows up. Yeah, like if this breakout hits something big, that's really going to hurt us. Ah, ooh, Domain! This deck is dead. Why are you playing a dead deck? Not allowed. We can go ahead and... Actually, we'll keep our token around. Because I'm just going to Skyclave this turn. Give me black-white right here. Skyclave the 4/4. Then we can attack for 2. I want to keep my token in play so that I can sacrifice it to Birthing Ritual. And then next turn we can Birthing Ritual and play Deathrite Shaman. Yep, it's a good old-fashioned zoo. I forgot about this deck. I hadn't seen it in so long. Alright, let's play the Marionette Apprentice, and then go ahead and also play Birthing Ritual. Our opponent's going to take out our creature before the Apprentice hit. Makes sense. They get a 2/2, but I get a Birthing Ritual. Make a servo, please. No attacks on this board. I would love... Okay, so we can have a Skyclave, we can have a Guide of Souls, we can have a Pride, we can have a Jugger. Skyclave Apparition would be pretty nice. We'd have to sack Bowmasters for that, but would be really, really nice as a Guide of Souls. Guide of Souls, and then next turn we just start gaining a bunch of life. I think sacking the Bowmasters for a Skyclave Apparition is also pretty correct here. But I like the idea of Guide of Souls. I think untapping with Guide of Souls will just put this game out of our opponent's reach. And then I think I'm interested in jumping here just to make sure that my life total stays high enough. I want to randomly die to Tribal Flames or something. Okay, you got that a hand? You got it. And we get to play 2 cheap creatures, gain some energy, gain some life. Everything's looking up Millhouse. I'm not interested in blocking with these creatures. These are my two best creatures on the board, so I'm going to attack with them. And then Birthing Ritual. Ooh, Renegade Rallier. Okay, so this is the good one. So we can sacrifice even one of our good creatures to get Renegade Rallier. So I'm going to sacrifice the Bowmasters here, get Renegade Rallier, and then the Renegade Rallier is going to get the Bowmasters back. Gain some life. You know the drill by now. Oh yeah, this deck is awesome. Nice, nice, nice. Alright, so we're going to want extra Skyclave Apparitions and extra Swords. This is a creature deck that we are up against, and probably just have a little bit less time to durdle with Lurrus, so we can maybe go down to one copy of him. Ooh, Peddling is also not that great against them. Would I rather Peddle or would I rather Lurrus? I'm not a fan of Peddling against creature decks at all, to be entirely honest. I think we'd rather Lurrus. We could play one Peddler just for the mana curve. I don't think Night Clubber is good against them either. Oh, extra removal spell is probably better than Peddling. Yeah, let's run it back probably like this. Maybe I should have another 2-drop in my sideboard for when the Peddlers come out. Because having only those 7 2-drops is kind of low in my Birthing Ritual deck. You know, it's tough. The more different mana values you add in the Birthing Ritual deck, the worse it gets. Because the original one with Lurrus, it just had zeros, ones, and twos, so it's really easy to chain. But now we're trying to support 0, 1, 2, and 3. It's a bit much. I see double Guide of Souls hand. I'm a simple man. I see Guide of Souls against a creature deck. It's a free win. And if they answer my Guide of Souls, I get to play a Deathrite Shaman. And this is a 1-mana Planeswalker that gains me life. Ooh, and removal on a stick. It's my birthday. Just get some basics to minimize the mana loss here, or the life loss here. Alright, we got good old Wild Nicodle, 4 different colors in play, but no planes, so it's still a 2-2. Yep, and Bolt onto Guide of Souls makes perfect sense. You do not let a Guide of Souls player on top of that card. It's so easy! Why is it so easy for me sometimes? Alright, get me some green-white out here, stat. Dude, it's so easy for him. Just draw your Guide of Souls when you're up against the beatdown creature deck. Nice. So even if they remove another guide, we'll just be able to play a Skyclave Apparition, remove a creature, gain some life. Life is good. Life is good. Right, Aggro, that is going to get removed. Oh, and this is the perfect draw this game. Like, I'm not even exaggerating. We drew the exact creatures we wanted to draw. We wanted multiple Guide of Souls, we wanted multiple Skyclave Apparition, and here they are. Wild. And now we get on the beatdown because we have so much energy. Okay. Just playing out some creatures. It's fine by me. I'll take the damage. And our opponent will scoop it up. Nice. Yeah, unfortunately, Domain fell off just super, super hard after Modern Horizons. It's a shame because it's a pretty nice deck. But that, I mean, hey. We showed off how good Skyclave Apparition was against this format, at least. So hopefully everybody now knows what I was meant when I was given the deck tech before, and I said, wow, this deck is, or this card is really underplayed, and I think it lines up very well against the format. It was awesome there. So closing thoughts on this deck. We're going to do it now. That first game took a while, so we don't have time for another. And I'm really impressed with it today, actually. I think Renegade Rallier and Skyclave Apparition are amazing, amazing, amazing cards to play in the shell. Lurrus is a little slow. I'm not sold on the main deck Lurrus still. Maybe we can play another value 2-drop over here. Like we saw last game, we sideboarded out the Peddlers, and then we only had 7 2-drops, and I was wondering what the heck was going on. We could also maybe just play more Nightmares. That's another option. We are only main decking two removal spells by themselves that are not on a stick. I don't know if this is the correct number. Maybe we can play more creature removal spells and not play these swords. Maybe we should be playing four swords or two swords, two static prisons, and I'm crazy for running so little removal. Maybe there's better options for the sideboard. Definitely let me know if you have sideboard suggestions for this deck. Because we can put in just one or two copies of a card and it will show up pretty frequently if we have birthing rituals in play. If only I could have more than four copies of this. If you have six or seven copies of Birthing Ritual in the deck, it would be insane. Oh man, that would be so crazy. But I'm super high on this build. Like I think this is sweet. You do lose Companion Lurrus, and I love how the deck just tries to remind me constantly that the Lurrus he could be here, and then it's all incompatible. I like it. That's funny. But yeah, I enjoyed the non-companion version of this deck, and it's definitely not worth having the Giganta companion either. I did think about it. Skyclave Apparition is just too strong, and there's also some reasonable sideboard cards like Night Glover Endurance that you can play in the slot. We didn't get to try all these sideboard cards. We didn't quite get to try Flare. We didn't get to cast Night Clever or Endurance today, or Boromir against Show and Tell, but I believe these are pretty good options. But I am like totally open to suggestions. I'd love to see more people work on this deck because I mean this is sweet. Renegade Rallier, especially with Birthing Ritual, just leads to just a really crazy amount of value. Whereas, yeah, this is one difference I've noticed now that I think about it. The Lurrus version of this deck with Companion Lurrus was really slow to grind out the value with the birthing ritual. Like the only way for you to increase your board state was to sacrifice a Bowmaster token or a Marionette token, and that was so slow. We're a Voice of Resurgence, make a token there, but that card sucks ass, right? Here you can have a very high power play like grab Renegade Rally or take back any permanent from your graveyard. That permanent is going to have an ETB. It is going to make a token. Or you grab a Skyclave Apparition, which is instant impact to the board state, or you grab a Lurrus, which lets you get value over time, and you don't have to spend 6 mana on this Lurrus. So that's why I'm really high on this build. I don't think you can play 4 drops here. Like theoretically, we've had times that we've sacrificed Renegade Rallier. We've had actually plenty of them where we've sacrificed Skyclave and Rallier. So you might say to me, okay, let's try to play a 4 drop, but I really don't think that's a great idea because there's very few creatures in the deck that can actually hit it, right? Like to hit a Renegade Rallier off the Birthing Ritual, you need to have either a 2 or a 3 drop in play, which is a lot of creatures. That's 10 here and 9 here, so that's 19. That's a lot. To hit a 4 drop, it's only one of these 9, and you're not always going to have them in play early. And some of them, like Lurrus, you want to keep in play. That's my closing thoughts. I hope somebody else picks up this deck. This was super fun, and I'm definitely going to keep toying with Birthing Ritual. This is my new favorite card to brew around in Timeless.